Hello friends, and welcome back to Weird Wednesdays. TattooedBiker here with you, and tonight I have something truly bizarre for you. 4 true viewer-submitted encounters with insect or mantis-like humanoid cryptids. This is going to be a wild one, so let's ride. Number 1. DearTattooed. I live in Evanston, Illinois, just north of Chicago. About 2 years ago now, I was asked by my mother's friend to move some stuff to a storage unit nearby. I hadn't been working because of COVID and the pay was decent, so I went ahead and agreed. It was raining all day off and on, but at times it got so heavy that I couldn't transfer boxes from my car to the unit. So I just got comfortable inside the unit and listened to some music while I waited for the rain to ease off. It's cozy in there, to be honest, and the rain just keeps getting worse. It's not very cold out, though. I'm just chilling when I start hearing this banging noise from nearby. It sounds like something hitting metal at first. I think that maybe there was a car accident on the nearby highway, North Lincoln Avenue, Highway 41. But then I realized it was coming from the other direction, and I really don't want to go outside and get wet. I tell myself that someone probably dropped something, like nothing serious. But I continue hearing various banging noises. I still didn't bother checking, but as it continues, I decided to check it out, since the rain had let up a bit. I walk outside and turn the corner and see this massive hole in the fence, leading to a little wooded area at the North Shore Canal Trail. I see this white thing moving near and under the dumpster by the fence. I'm thinking that it was a large white garbage bag, but it just doesn't look right. I'm confused and trying to get a closer look at the thing. I may be about 100 feet away or so, and I see something sticking out of it, and it's making a clicking sound. I say, "Hello? Who's that?" I immediately regret yelling this out. Something big squeezes out from underneath the dumpster. It looks like a pile of fleshy tissue with spike-like protrusions. It stands about 4 feet tall, but then extends up to over 6 feet. It looks like a humanoid spider or other insect, but with white skin. It doesn't have an exoskeleton, just smooth, white flesh. The head is weird, kind of insect-like, with no mouth that I could see. The eyes were human-like and had a reddish glow. It had long slits along the side of its head. It just stood there, clicking and watching me. I could sense that it didn't want me there. I was wondering why I was still there and hadn't run off, but I was frozen in place and terrified. I had heard about the Chicago Mothman and was wondering if this may have been it, but it didn't resemble anything that I'd ever heard about. Then suddenly I felt a rush of calm come over me, and I was able to break the trance I was in. I hauled ass back to the storage unit, locked it up, got in my car, and quickly left. When I looked back in the direction of the creature, it was gone. I returned the next day and finished unloading the boxes from the car as fast as I could. Thanks for reading. And other than posting this story anonymously in an online forum looking for answers, I've never told anyone in my personal life about this, afraid they'll think I'm crazy. So I'd appreciate it if you don't use my real name. Thanks. Number 2. Hey biker, I'm a mail carrier in Los Alamos, New Mexico. Folks here are spread out over long distances and they still need to get their mail. So every day I take a long drive out through the desert to deliver mail to the residents. In February 2023, I was out by the Valles Caldera National Preserve and I blew a tire. It was late afternoon and it was going to be dark soon. The desert gets really cold at night year-round. Even worse, my cell phone service is spotty around here. My reception was nearly nil at this point. My only options were to wait for a car to pass and hope that they were willing to help. I could also hike up the hill and try to get a signal. Eventually, after I didn't report back, the post office would send someone out to find me along the highway, but that could literally take hours. And I didn't want to spend the night out here alone. I chose the hike. I could probably make it up and back just before dark. I just hoped that I'd be able to get a signal once I reached the top. I was about halfway up the hill when I decided to take a short rest break. I was sitting on a rock and taking a few sips from a water bottle when I heard some odd sounds. It was like loud chattering. It reminded me of cicadas that I remembered when living in the eastern U.S. It seemed like it was coming from behind a rocky outcropping, directly in the path. I didn't see any other route, so I just decided to move slowly and see what it was. As I began to walk, I stepped on a loose rock and lost my footing. I slid down a few feet before catching myself. The chattering suddenly stopped, and I noticed something move out from behind a boulder. I saw a 6-foot-tall, thin insectoid with the head of a grasshopper. It had 2 large antennae on its head and a pair of large pincers extending from its thorax. There was another, smaller pair of pincers beneath that. It moved quickly left and then right, and then left again, stopping some 20 feet away. It was horrible. I didn't know if running and standing my ground was the best option, but after I took another look at its pincers, I decided on the former. I slowly backed away, mimicking its movements. It just stood still as it watched me. Then my cell phone began to ring loudly. The creature's antennas snapped to attention, and it quickly ran down the hillside. I instantly ran in the opposite direction, stumbling and falling as I moved. I eventually reached the bottom of the hill near the roadside not far from my mail truck. I hopped in the truck and stayed put, hoping that the creature would stay away from me. I did catch a glimpse of it as it moved around the hill. I stayed in my truck for several hours, not daring to leave its safety. After what seemed like forever, a car came along and gave me a lift back into town. What the hell did I see? I have heard a lot of stories about strange creatures in the New Mexico desert, but this was almost impossible to imagine. Of course, I haven't mentioned this to anyone other than my girlfriend. Thanks, Biker. Signed, Henry. Number 3. Hey TB, I just wanted to share an experience I had about 2 years ago in the Sequoia National Forest. My sister took my friend and I out there, and we were deep in the forest, far away from civilization. We were having a great time, and I'm a firm believer in the paranormal, Bigfoot, aliens, and all that stuff, but while I was there, I never had that thought. I was there camping with my family and friend and just having a great time. At about 9 o'clock, everyone decides to go to sleep, and my friend and I were left staring at the bonfire. I decided it was a good time to listen to music, so I went to my sister's 4Runner to grab my iPod. And as I opened the back door, I heard something come out of the tree. It didn't just come out of the tree. It was almost like it was holding on, and it fell. And I heard this huge thump. I could even feel it. And as I had a flashlight on me, I looked over at the tree I heard the fall from, and I swear on my life, and I swear to God, I saw a 6 to 7 foot tall praying mantis. And as I laid eyes on it, I completely lost my breath. Taken aback, I took a step back and it became completely invisible. I couldn't believe what I saw. I slammed the door and I ran back to the campfire. I alerted my friend and woke everyone up, and no one would believe me. I was really upset because I knew what I'd seen. So that happened, and my friend didn't even believe me. He was laughing at me, and then all of a sudden, I could hear all these things surrounding us. And finally, when I brought it to my friend's attention, he kind of put his ear to it, and he heard it too. Finally, I was patrolling the campground with my flashlight, and I could still hear these things up in the trees. And I kept hearing this clicking sound. It was really strange, and I was so scared. Thanks for reading. Signed, Tim. Number 4. Hey, TattooedBiker. I had an encounter that I've been thinking about a lot lately. About 5 years ago, I was fly fishing on the Muscatong River in New Jersey with my boss. I saw briefly what I could only describe as a praying mantis man. Although the water was clear, there had been heavy rains the past couple of days. We shouldn't have been out there. The river was smooth, but the current was exceptionally strong. I was leaning backwards and digging my heels into the gravel, but the river was still kicking me along pretty good. It was sketchy navigating. Please know I am privy to the paranormal, and always have been. Shadow people, ghosts, whatever, but what I encountered that day was not a spirit. It was a biological, living creature, but it disappeared in the thin air, almost as soon as I saw it. For whatever reason, my online searches at the time turned up nothing, but then by chance I came across an alien race type video on YouTube, and there in the artwork I saw what I saw. Ancient mantis leaders. So when I began searching mantis alien instead of praying mantis man, I found a lot more information. They say they are interdimensional, whatever that means, but I didn't get that impression. No, this creature was cloaked, and because of both my innate sensory perception skills and the particular physical circumstances at the time, I can add details if you're interested. I just caught it. Movement out of the corner of my eye to my left, and there it was. Humanoid. Tall. 6 foot at least. There was really not a lot of reference points, but I sensed 6.5 to 7 feet. Moving away from me back up the bank. I was chest high in the river. The first thing I see was the grasshopper-like thigh, but bending forward like a human. Then the whole form. He is looking at me over his shoulder, moving up the bank astonished and amazed. At what, I'm not sure. That I'm in the water, in a strong current, or that I can see him. But yes, we lock eyes, and this creature is definitely astonished. I get the sense that he can't believe that I'm in the water, and he can't believe that I can see him. That I'm not perturbed at all. Something of all three, I still don't know. Just astonishment, and he is actually trying to get away from me and the water. He had a triangular head, huge, slanted black eyes, just like a praying mantis. Its whole body was gangly and knobby, but you could still sense it was powerful. And no, I wouldn't say it was a big bug. It was definitely humanoid, despite the mantis insect qualities. And no, I didn't tell my boss about this. He was in the water about 50 yards from me at the time. Being privy to the paranormal, you just see these things and sort of go, okay. No fear, no nothing. But I do get the sense that my whatever attitude contributed to this creature's astonishment. Frankly, I didn't give the encounter much thought until recently. I can move forward with more details. I just believe now that this encounter was somehow very important. Thanks for reading. Signed, Sam. A narrator's note here. I emailed Sam back and requested more detail if possible. And to my delight, he responded the very next day. Hey biker, this event took place in Hackettstown, New Jersey. The stretch of the Muscatong River here is unusual in that its west bank borders Route 46, a local highway congested with lots of stores, but the east bank, where we were fishing, borders fields and farmland. No bank to speak of on the developed side, but the sloping bank on the rural side was high, maybe 10 feet. A strip of trees about 10 to 20 yards thick separated the river from the fields beyond, but there was an occasional path or gap, each about 20 yards wide, that allowed clear access to the river. Like I mentioned, the weather had been bad the previous several days, and the sky was white and heavy. It was mid-afternoon. When I saw the Mantis man, it was in one of these gaps, moving back up the bank towards the fields, looking back at me over its left shoulder, about 15 to 20 yards away. So understand that it was several feet above me. I had to look up at it. And so it was framed clearly against that blank white sky. Like a full ghost apparition, it was indeed clear, but nevertheless nearly transparent and fading fast. And then it simply evaporated mid-stride. Again, I stressed the strong impression that the Mantis man was cloaked, and I caught it just right. It abruptly found itself against a new blank background and was trying to adjust quickly. No, I don't believe that it slipped into another dimension or plane or anything like that. I detected movement and first saw that the strong left thigh and strong right calf, and then the whole thing, and immediately those eyes and face. The whole encounter was maybe only a couple of seconds. I can't tell you with any strong certainty what its feet or hands looked like. I wasn't looking there, but I can tell you that its arms were normal, and not the literal mantis forelegs I've recently seen in the drawings of these so-called aliens. That's really about it. If you have any more questions, please feel free to contact me. Sincerely, Sam. There it is. All I have for you tonight. Thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoyed these true cryptid encounter stories with insectoid-like creatures. If you made it this far, you might as well just subscribe if you haven't already, for more true stories of the unexplained, unsolved, and unknown. So thank you, viewers, and special thanks to those that submitted your stories. So till next time, stay curious, stay vigilant, stay safe. I'll be seeing you on down the road a ways. Biker, out.